Today's This Week in Startups is brought to you by LeadGenius. Higher quality leads and customized customer data at scale. Schedule a free demo at leadgenius.com/twist. And InVision. Find out why so many hot startups are using InVision to prototype, present, and collaborate on design in real time. Sign up for a 90-day free trial today at invisionapp.com/twist. Today on the show, Dave Matthews, CEO and founder at NewAir, and Nellie Bowles, reporter at Recode, talk the future of Reddit, hackers getting hacked, and luxury cannabis delivery service.
That's what it's all about, man. They said, money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. We ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you. Yeah, money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. Yeah, we ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you.
Hey everybody, welcome to This Week in Startups. This is the show where we talk about technology, startups, and all that great stuff. We do the show twice a week. We've been doing it for 6 years, and boy, am I tired. No, this is the moment of the week I look forward to, actually twice a week. We do two types of shows typically. You know we do interview shows where I'll find a great founder and I'll interview them. We've had everybody on the program. We had Travis on the program when Uber was 6 months old. We had Andrew Mason when Groupon was a year old. We had Kevin Systrom when he had 5 employees at Instagram. We get everybody on the show. The interview shows are amazing. But what the audience loves more than anything, I have to say, is they love the news program. They love when we go through all the news and we riff on it with really smart people. Of course, we have two great guests today, and Dave Matthews is with us. He is the CEO and founder of NewAir, which is a proximity platform. You know him as the famed creator of the worst gadget in history, the QCat.
The first IoT thing.
The first Internet of Things, and I rib you on this every time because you literally burned $50 million in investment money.
Come on, $205
$200.
I just outside.
This is it. Oh, you're next, Nelly. You just wait your turn. I'll go through your resume in a minute, lady.
You know what we're gonna do?
Dave Matthews.
We're gonna go through the 10K, the pre-IPO 10K together. You and I, we can just get a bottle of wine together.
Let's do it.
And just. I want it to be just us, though, not
just
the cameras.
Us. We'll put candles.
Yeah, it'll be.
I'll be gentle. It'll be great.
Okay, cool.
$205 million of investor money into the QCat.
All strategic money. Not
all
a single VC was harmed in the creation of this device.
Unfortunately.
Coca-Cola, $10 million. Y&R, $20 million. I mean,
tell
come on.
Nelly what the QCat was.
I'm too
explain
young.
it to her.
You old
Because
man,
Nelly has no idea.
Yeah, so old. So.
And but let me just introduce our next guest, which is Nellie Bowles. Everybody knows Nellie is a reporter. She covers culture and technology. One of the best writers in the business, up and coming. She's working on a great book. I won't say what it is, but I did have a little bit of a role in pushing you towards writing this book. Yes?
You did. It's true.
I read one of your pieces and I said, Nellie, this isn't an article. It's a. We'll talk about the book later. But I said, this is a book. My God, Maron. Anyway, you're a reporter for Recode anymore or no? Freelancing
I'm
now.
Writing for magazines.
Writing for magazines.
Got a new one. I'm going to write a story for Maxim.
Maxim. Wow.
Hard cutting news and Maxim. I love it.
I'm ready for Lad
You're
Mags,
working
Jason.
for a lad mag.
I was born for Lad Mags.
Absolutely. Okay, so Dave, explain to Nellie, who didn't live through Web 1.0.
Yeah.
What was the QCat?
So remember the noises that your dad's computer would make when he would dial onto the internet? That screeching, that. So Yahoo was really the only. It wasn't a search engine. It was a directory. It was a catalog of websites. Yeah. And you had a thing in your hand, like maybe a Coca-Cola can, or you had a magazine that all had a UPC code, a barcode on it.
Yeah.
And what we said was it was way too hard to find the exact story you were reading in that magazine or to find that product information on the web because Google did not exist. This is 1996, 1997. And I said, well, what if we take a barcode reader, which was in retail all over the place, inventory in, inventory out, and we take the barcode database, which only works in the retail store, and make it work on this new thing called the internet. Whoa, pretty ahead of its time.
It's not a
bad idea. No, not one of the.
Pull up my,
not one of the worst inventions of all time.
Okay.
Yeah, so we worked with Wired magazine.
Why did it fail so badly?
Guys, if you pull up my screen, you can actually see a YouTube video here. of the QCat.
Who this guy is? He's
Dude is just reviewing
2009 a review. This is
I don't know
pretty
when
bad.
this review is. It's from 2009. There's the actual plugs into.
Yeah, plugged into
and
the
there it
keyboard
is.
port because USB wasn't even a thing when we invented
That's-
this. And
What is that?
Explaining
Object
like
is
here it
waving,
is.
at
Here's
least.
how it works. You
Yeah.
scan your QCat.
yep, so this was the
I
setup
have no idea
video.
what this dude is saying. I will never.
We
I
could
would
do
never
a
turn
better.
the volume up
We could
without
really
having
do a better
pre-watched
video
this.
for this. But
But
anyway,
it's like
Basically,
see,
I'm
Radio
guessing with a
Shack.
mustache on.
Radio Shack catalogs had barcodes all throughout, and the whole idea is you could deep link to whatever you had in your hand, deep link to the internet story for that. So if you read a story in Wired magazine, back then Wired was two properties. Hot Wired was the web portal,
Okay.
and Wired was the print magazine. Remember this, Jason? They didn't
Well, the
even own
reason
their...
they had Hot Wired and Wired separated was because they said we're going to confuse people if the Wired website. The people are going to confuse the website with the magazine. So we don't want people to say, I read it in Wired, and then they meant they read it on the Wired website. So we'll make Hot Wired as the website
Word.
and Wired as the publication so nobody will be confused.
Huh.
Which, you know, is
brilliant.
the most crazy left.
Yeah.
And then they were
Well, that's
also
like
going to
SF
spin
Gate.
out,
That's like SF Gate versus SF Chronicle.
or whatever.
Everyone
So
did
then
that.
they were going to spin out the Hot Wired as its own IPO. So Wired would be the magazine IPO, and then they'd have a digital IPO. So everybody was pursuing, you know, Toys R Us would have a Toys R Us trading stock, and then there would be the eToys R Us trading stock, which would be Toys R Us digital.
And it's because the
Tracking
stock for
stock.
the E stuff was through the roof, right?
Correct.
The multiples were way higher. So anyway, we took our technology and we said, if you have the ability to read a code from your computer, and this is tower PCs, this is pre-laptop, pre-smartphones,
Yeah.
pre-camera phones, you could just swipe a barcode and deep link exactly to the right
It was
story.
genius in a way.
Thank you.
It was genius,
Thank you.
but it failed.
It failed. 2001
Horrible.
happened.
How
Wired
many years,
magazine
let me
went-
ask you this, how many years of therapy before you reconcile?
I don't do therapy. My therapy is rebuilding Vespas, and my third Vespa rebuild is downstairs. And I just
Oh,
love
really?
these,
Like
yeah.
old ones?
I do some old ones. In LA, I keep a 65. But here I've been doing modern 2008s. And,
Can you get me a Vespa? I want a Vespa.
Okay, let's do it.
I have one. I love my
You have to
Vespa.
do the
I
motorcycle
scoot
safety.
around.
Did you
I'll
do
do
the
that whole
motorcycle
thing.
safety course?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I
You have to
want a
do-
motorcycle.
But you
I
have the
got
one
a
that's
Vespa.
49 cc's, or do you have the one that goes fast?
It goes pretty fast. It's like it's,
35?
It's red. It's adorable.
Okay, well, that's a color thing. So it goes up to 35 miles per hour.
Yeah, I think I've taken a person on the back and gone up like Taylor Street. I have gone fast.
Going up hills, huh?
Yeah.
Cool.
You can.
All right, let's get into the news. Enough with all this. Reddit is a complete and utter disaster. Last week, the subreddits, the top 100 subreddits, as we know, were shut down. They fired a woman named Victoria who ran all the AMAs and who was basically the manager of all the moderators. Of course, this was all done by Ellen Pao, who is not a polarizing figure in any way and is completely suited perfectly for the Reddit audience to be managed by. They didn't tell anybody what they were doing, and then the front page, I don't know if you guys saw it over the weekend, of Reddit was essentially, you know, all Ellen Pao and her husband memes.
Wow.
You know, like some of it misogynistic and horrible, others of it just funny and clever, as Reddit tends to be precocious. And Ellen Pao has since apologized twice and for not communicating with the audience. Let me just start with you, Nellie. What is your take on all of this and Ellen Pao as the interim CEO? Because you covered the trial of Ellen Pao.
I mean, it's been a hard.
And you
year
know
for
Ellen,
her.
you know who Ellen is.
Yeah.
You feel like you know who she is.
Yeah, I think it's been a really hard year for her. I think this is a mess. I'm not
Yeah.
allowed to swear, so I have
Yeah.
to say mess.
You just use effing or this ish is a mess. Yeah, it's a mess.
Yeah, I don't think she was prepared for this kind of backlash
Right.
from the Reddit community at all.
Right.
But just watching it, it's kind of astonishing how it's unfolded so publicly.
Right.
And like such an important internet property is falling apart like completely before our eyes. Like it's fascinating. I don't know.
Yeah.
And
And-
she clearly miscalculated this. She clearly miscalculated how much people loved this Victoria woman, how
Right.
important she was, and she miscalculated the sentiment of her user base.
And she's the interim CEO. What are you hearing about her keeping that job? Nothing? You have no idea.
Yeah.
But what do you think about her as a culture fit with this group of, let's face it, Reddit is like, Reddit to me.
You don't want a CEO who's a culture fit with Reddit. Like there is so
Yeah.
much about Reddit that is like culturally very
Suspect.
Suspect. That,
Yeah.
Like I don't. Someone who's a culture fit with Reddit would be not someone who's managing
A business.
A business.
Right.
I
That
don't
fringe
know.
part of it, right?
I don't know. I mean, she might be just right. Like
Yeah.
she kind of like I don't know. she might be able to handle the trolls and the haters. She's very tough. Like
She
throughout the
seems very
trial,
tough.
I was there, like as you know, I covered it every day, and she handled so much vitriol towards her throughout that trial that
Right.
it made me realize like she's a very tough woman. Like,
For sure.
She can handle stuff.
Right.
And so maybe she is well suited for a community like Reddit, where no matter who's in charge, they're gonna have to handle so many angry crazies.
Right.
I don't know.
So this is a perfect example
Yeah.
of the lunatics taking over the asylum.
For sure.
Yeah.
This is why I hate social media. I've always hated it. The lunatics, there's a role in life for everyone. There's creators and there's consumers.
Right.
And look at Dig.
Right.
Dig got taken over by the lunatics 5 years ago.
Yeah.
What was really interesting in the last year is Recode got rid of commentary on the blog.
Yeah.
Right? And they said, we're not going to and discuss, and all these tools came out during the social media era to manage the lunatics. And I guess what Recode said was there's more discussions going on in Facebook where its identity is true and known.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Commenters are notoriously miserable. I mean, anyone who's written things for online knows.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's this, and you've been in publishing your entire life.
Sure.
You watched the shift from the empires of trees to the digital empires.
Right.
And what happened with the early Engadget community, right?
Yeah.
At first, it starts out as fans and educational comments, and then it just goes
Well,
downhill.
you know, when things become messy, you can have the inmates who are, you know, literally the crazy people. And let's face it, I don't want to make fun of, I'm not poking fun at mentally ill people, but there is a percentage of people in society who are mentally ill. I feel these communities are like how a lot of them get release, how a lot of them interact with the world. If you're not good at interacting with the world because you have some mental disease, like an illness, and you deserve our, like, you know, sympathy for that, well, you know what? Twitter's perfect for you. Facebook's perfect for you. And so is Reddit, because you can explore your own mental illness and get engagement from people and reinforce it. Whereas in the real world, nobody would, if you came up to somebody and was like, Ellen Powell's a Nazi, you'd be like, why am I talking to this person?
Yeah.
But online, somebody puts like Ellen Powell is a Nazi in a meme, and hundreds of people are discussing it. Like, yeah, she is kind of like Hitler, and here's why.
It's either that it's a community for.
You can move that microphone in, by the way, a
I'm
little bit.
moving it in.
Yeah, move it in a little bit. Yeah. There you go, perfect.
It's either that you're seeing crazies, as you say, gather around it, or that it brings out a certain crazy in people and
Right.
allows people to be
Unfiltered and hateful. Yeah.
Unfiltered, and it's a community that then encourages that sort of like what we've seen with Pat, that you mentioned, like a lot of the racism, the sexism, the memes that are just really nasty stuff.
It is. And, you know, the thing about it is, I have to...
They do those memes no matter who is in charge.
That's a fair point.
Challenge, you know, for me, they'd do something different, or for you, they'd do
No,
something
everybody, I mean, gets sent up on there at some point. If you're a public figure, they're going to do a Photoshop contest around the weirdest looking video of you or screen grab of you. What do you think is going to happen? A year from now, or actually when we get back from commercial break, will Ellen Powell be...
Commercials?
Of course, the show's sold out for 3 or 4 months at a time now.
my
This is a big enterprise. You think all this... You realize that this microphone is Howard Stern's microphone? This is a $3,000 microphone. Like, this is no joke here. Like, this is year 6 of the program.
I think I have Stuttering John's microphone.
No,
here.
no, that
This
actually,
is
the Shure
just-
microphone over there, that's like a $500 microphone. That's a really good microphone, too. All right, when we get back from the commercial break, I want to know, is this going to lead to the ultimate demise of Reddit? How long will Ellen Powell be there? And who could possibly be the next CEO of Reddit? When we get back on commercial break. Hey, let me just say hello to our friends over at LeadGenius, which is a company that, by the way, I invested in. And then we were using their product, we invested in them, and then they wound up becoming an advertiser on the program. They wound up getting clients on the program, and now they've wound up re-upping their advertising because they've gotten so many clients and they've helped so many people. It's very simple. What they do at LeadGenius is they have people who are like SDRs, sales development reps. They go into your own CRM. They go find clients for you. They look at who you're selling to, which clients aren't buying for you. They reactivate the people in your CRM, your customer relationship management system, and then they send them an email. Hey, would you be interested in this product? Hey, would you be interested in that product? They find other people at the company. And then they hand off all that sales data to your account executives. Now, by outsourcing this for a couple of $1,000s a month, you don't have to increase your headcount, and you get a better service, and they're really good at it. They did it for us, and it wound up with us getting a huge sponsor for the launch festival. And they scour the web for all this proprietary data. They import it directly into your CRM, like I'm saying, and they'll keep all your customer information up to date. So your account executives are not in the CRM for 5 hours a day cleaning everything up. That's what LeadGenius does. They clean everything up and make sure, like, if somebody leaves the company, you get the new person's contact information in your database. Top clients include Stripe, Weebly, Signified, and us. Launch This Week in Startups. You can sign up at leadgenius.com/twist for a free review, audit, and critique of your sales process by the LeadGenius team. And qualifying businesses are eligible for a free calibration and 10 high-quality leads. If you need more leads, go check out at LeadGenius. I like the company so much, I invested in it. All right, everybody, welcome back to This Week in Startups. My guest, Dave Matthews, who you can follow on the Twitter, GGDM, and his company, New Air, spelled incorrectly, New AER, which is doing really well, from what I understand.
It's blowing up.
I love
Proximity. Turns out Apple copied us with iBeacon. We were there ahead of time. We launched.
Yes.
It launched 2011, the
Right.
inaugural event. Took away best technology.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Big. And of course, you can follow Nellie Bowles on the Twitter as well, NELLIE, BOWLES. And she is a freelance reporter looking for work. No.
I hate you.
You got plenty of work.
I have so much work.
Maxim, San Francisco Magazine. You're really well published now. Okay, let's just close up the Reddit mess here. Number one, is Ellen Pao, in your opinion, going to make it through the year? Yes or no?
Oh,
3,
God, I don't know.
2.
I think so.
You think she makes it through? And how does she make it through? She just communicates more with the community, or?
Yeah, I think is more transparent
Yeah.
and a little bit more aware of the Reddit community. It just seems like she's being tone deaf to what was going on with
For
all
sure.
of this. Like
Tone deaf seems like a theme in her career. Maybe a little bit.
Jason.
I have my own feelings on her. I don't dislike her because I don't know her, but I do think that she lost the case for a reason. What's the feeling in Silicon Valley about her losing the case? We all know sexism exists in Silicon Valley. We all know the venture capital numbers are horrible. But do you think she deserved to win the case? And she lost. She lost an awful case.
I don't know. Honestly, my opinion.
You were there.
My opinion changed depending. I'm so influenceable. My opinion changed depending on who was arguing that day.
Yes.
I was like, well, I don't know. I
Hard
think,
to be on the jury.
I think that it was really hard to be on the jury. I think, like we were just talking earlier, I think what it came down to was there was a lot of times when something would go wrong and she would complain about it or be upset about it, and John Doerr would say, let's fix this, like with Ajit Nazare, who was harassing her. And
that guy's a real piece
and
of
John Doerr, and so,
ish.
but Doerr wanted to fire him, and she said, no, please don't. And so I think what
So
it came
she went
down
like
to,
halfway.
Yeah. So what it came down to with the jury was it was really hard because it seemed like Kleiner Perkins was making efforts to fix the situation, and then she would resist it. I mean, at
So
the
it was
same
an ugly
time,
situation, and maybe she didn't handle it. But
yeah,
she was
I
the
think,
victim,
I think
but she didn't
all
handle
sides,
it. Didn't handle it perfectly.
I think all sides handled it very imperfectly.
Right.
I think it was an HR mess over there. There was no clear.
There
path
was no
to-
HR.
There was no HR. There was no clear path to promotion. There was no one sort of really looking out for a safe workplace.
Right.
And she complicated it by making it hard to fix the situation.
Yeah.
So it was a.
And they also happen to
mess.
have a bunch of other women working there who have done spectacularly well. So
And a lot of
that
women.
makes it hard.
Yeah, but then a lot of women like Trey Vassallo who did do spectacularly well, but then didn't stay and didn't really
says
feel
something.
comfortable to rise, and so that says something too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It is very
I really
interesting.
have mixed feelings about it. I think it's a super complicated story. I
She's
don't think
super
that there's like a
complicated.
winner and a loser or like a good guy or a bad guy at all. If there was, then it would have settled out of court. Like we wouldn't be talking about it if there was a clear. We wouldn't know about it.
It's
if
really
there was a clear winner here.
The fact that it's super complicated, and she's a first-time CEO, I believe. This is her first time as CEO. She went from chief of staff, which chief of staff is basically like being the executive assistant to somebody who's really smart. Like you have an executive assistant and a chief of staff. So the really high-level tasks go to the chief of staff, like who should we have dinner with in the city and whatever. And then the executive assistant handles like the travel booking or whatever. Mm-hmm. Then she became a first-time venture capitalist. That didn't work out for her. People didn't like her. She said herself, she's like very negative and dour, I guess is how she described herself, right? Like she's very negative.
I don't know if she ever used the word dour, but
she said negative.
Okay.
I think it was the exact word she used. It's like, I'm very negative. which I think is like a hard thing for a VC to be.
Yeah.
And now she's a first-time CEO in what I think is arguably the most difficult job you could take in the last 5 years in technology.
Yeah.
Right? So like,
I think so. I
who
think it's the
put her in that
hardest.
job? It's like a really bad idea to put a first-time CEO in charge of Reddit. Horrible idea. What do you think? Is she going to
think-
be out there by the end of the year or not?
I think she's gone. I think the community's gone
think
too.
she's gone?
Look at all these communities rise and fall, like Slashdot, then Dig,
Right.
Reddit now is gone. Product Hunt, that's the future
Right.
for now.
So Reddit, It's very interesting. She's a fascinating character. I'd love to have her on the program.
She is a fascinating character.
How did she do at the Recode conference, the Code
Oh,
conference?
she was great.
Yeah, I didn't see the whole
She
video.
was really, really good.
Yeah?
She was poised and charming and smart, and she was really good. I
Yeah.
was nervous because I wasn't sure how comfortable she'd be talking about everything, but she's really embraced her role as kind of like the sort of
Spokesperson.
tech women spokesperson.
Do women, in all honesty, want her to be the spokesperson? Because I've spoken to a lot of women about her, and like even female VCs, and they're like, wrong person to be the spokesperson for this issue.
There's no perfect spokesperson like that.
Yeah.
There's no,
Right. I'm
It's
fascinated.
like, is there a
about her.
spokesperson for all male
Yeah,
like entrepreneurs
I
now?
No, but I
think-
mean, if you, I'm trying to think. Like there are.
Like Sue Decker wrote a piece for Recode that I thought was really smart that
Right.
said, it takes someone who's willing to be a little bit strange and willing to break some cultural norms and break some rules
Right.
and make people uncomfortable. It takes someone like that to
Right.
make change. And
Yeah.
so in
So in that
I
way,
thought
she's
that-
perfect.
I thought that was the sort of great take on it. And Sue Decker came to the trial with her kids, and she's a woman who's probably has a
hyper successful.
hyper successful, probably has mixed feelings about the whole thing, probably doesn't think there's any
Yeah.
clear black and white here either.
Yeah.
But
It's very interesting. It's like nobody wants to talk about the subject. The other thing I find very interesting is every time I bring up the subject, people are like, do we have to talk about this?
Yeah.
Like it's very hard for people to talk about, I think, because she's not likable, I think is one of the issues, and she probably didn't do a great job, and then it happens to be a really important issue, right? And you put those two things together, it's kind of like, I really don't want to say anything bad about Ellen because the issue's kind of important. It's just hard, especially for
Yeah.
women, I find, because like I've talked to many female VCs about it, and they're just like, she's not a good VC. I worked with her; she was just not good.
I disagree with that just based on what I saw in the trial. It sounds like
Yeah.
she made some good investments with RPG or
Just not good, like in terms of like interacting with people. I think the negativity thing.
I mean, then what do you want from a VC? Do you want like a captain of the football team, or do you want
yeah,
someone who
that
makes
would be
money?
good. Yeah, you want the captain of the football team. You want the
Why?
positive
You want
person.
someone to like hang out with?
Yeah, it's a big part of it, actually. I
Yeah.
think you have to be charismatic. You have to be positive. You have to be keep people motivated. Because a lot of times the role of a VC or an investor is to get the founder to not quit. I mean, you know this, right? Like it's like founders are always on the
Tough.
brink of quitting, and it's like
Yeah, I'm
you
doing
have
this
to.
5 years, and 5 years you get up every day, and like, why didn't things work yesterday? How can I make them work today? And a lot of that is the VCs, the connections, and Intel Capital is one of my investors.
Yeah.
And they're amazing with getting me in the door
I was
of
not
companies.
buying this. I think that if you can prove yourself to be a successful investor and have good outcomes for companies, then I don't
It's
think
not
you have
about-
to be
it's-
like
yeah.
fun to have beers with as well, or like one
No,
of the guys.
you're
like
wrong.
I
don't think you have to be one of
you're
the guys.
wrong, Jason. I
No,
think
no.
we should fight.
No,
I
here, I'll
think
tell you why.
We're gonna duke
It
it out.
doesn't. It doesn't have to be. You don't have to be one of the guys because there's a lot of females who are doing great. Actually, I think you have to though have a certain charisma and charm to you and a supportive nature that people want to be drawn to you because you're in competition with everybody else. And so people want to say like, you know what? I really want to work with Eileen Lee because I see her everywhere. She's super smart. She's a thought leader, right? And
Thought leader.
that came up in the trial over and over
That
again.
was,
It
like,
is like
such a
popularity.
meme.
There is a
VC this is one
popularity
that-
contest to it.
Yeah, you couldn't pay me to be a VC, is
Yeah.
what I learned. Also, all that lingo, oh my God.
Yeah.
I
Thought
just thought
leader?
like thought leader, just the way they talk. I was like, oh my God, this is what Jason has to deal with every
Buzzword
day.
bingo, baby.
Like,
Well, the thing is
oh.
also like
Oh.
one of the things is angel investors are a lot different than VCs because
That's true.
VCs, it is a club, and angel investors is a solo pursuit. Like I just decide if I want to invest in something. I don't have to talk to anybody about it. When you're a VC, you have to go back, and you all have to have beers, and you all have to play foosball or sit around and like, are we going to invest in Google? And then somebody in the partnership says, you know what, this is ridiculous. Why should we invest in the 12th search engine? These guys are like kooks. They don't, they didn't really give a good presentation. The product's ugly. I mean, it's good, it's fast, and it gives a good answer, but we lost money on all these other search engines. We should not do it. And that guy is still at the partnership. That's a very successful partnership that's invested in other multi-billion-dollar unicorns. But everybody in the partnership knows that he talked them out of Google. You want to talk about a weird, dysfunctional
Hold on.
situation.
But then that's a great example of like if he's so charming and compelling and fun, and maybe he was like playing beer pong while he was talking them out of Google, like awesome. But he talked them out of Google.
Exactly.
So the proof is in the pudding. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just who cares if you guys all have matching tattoos? Like if he doesn't make a good investment, isn't the goal to make money here? It's
not like trading, because if you look at like high frequency traders, like they're doing everything based on data. So you could be like a complete, utter misanthrope and do fantastic. In fact, that might actually help.
Yeah, probably.
In the venture community and in angel investing, if people find out that like you're a drag to work with, and you're like negative and you're just not uplifting and fun and energizing in the board meetings and everything like that, and not super positive, like they'll just be like, yeah, I really didn't enjoy having that person on my board. And they just tell all the other founders, and the other founders are like, I'll take money from this firm, but I just don't want that partner. So that's where I think like Ellen Powell was not suited for venture capital. And I also think that she's suited to be the CEO of Reddit, because the Reddit group is I think primarily male. I'm guessing it's 80% male in terms of content contribution.
I have no idea.
They're anonymous, and they hate the concept of like the social justice warrior or whatever. Like, and I think they see her as that. So now they just set up this epic like showdown. Social justice warrior versus like a bunch of
So you think
anonymous
Reddit should
kids.
be run by a Gamergator? You're like it needs a culture fit.
I think it needs somebody who. I think the game of Reddit is really about who can manage. The game of Reddit is how far can we push free speech and not be thrown off the site. So everybody is trying to figure out like, okay, let's make jokes about dead babies. And it's like, well, that's really offensive. And it's like, well, let's share pictures of dead babies. It's like, that's really offensive. And it's like, but it's not illegal. Therefore, I should be able to do it. And like the whole game of Reddit is you can open up a subreddit, and there's one called Dead Babies, and it's like, will Reddit shut it down? And this group, which is probably 1% of the traffic, or not even 1% of the traffic, it's 1% of the contributors. The contributors are probably 1 million contributors to the site who actually put content in. Of those, 0.1, like 1,000 of them, are probably in this contingent. And it's who can push the envelope. And they create subreddits like Jailbait, and it's like, we're going to put pictures of 15-year-old girls up, 16-year-old girls up, 17-year-olds up. And it's like, well, in Hawaii, the age of consent's 15, and in California, it's 18. So, it's not, we got you. You can't kick us off because we're actually, our IP address is in Florida, and Florida's age of consent is 16, so it's okay, right? It's like, that's the madness of the game. Yeah. And you need somebody who can actually manage that.
Like, I think a big push that she's been doing, and then we're seeing with Reddit, is like they're growing up and getting the hate stuff off. Not that hate speech is necessarily illegal, not that they're breaking the law by posting racist photos or photos of a 16-year-old in Florida if the rule is that X, Y, Z. But that Reddit as a community is deciding it has standards. Right. And Reddit as a Condé Nast funded publication in part has
Condé Nast owns
standards.
It.
And so it's the community deciding that it has certain rules for itself.
Yeah, the issue is,
and so you've got the fringes who are now who are rebelling, and the Boyles.
10 years of allowing basically anything except illegal activity, and now they're going to try to rein it in. It was interesting. They got rid of the I Hate Fat People group, which was tragic for me because are you recovering? Well, I'm totally self-loathing. Well, this is where I go to motivate myself to lose. It's like, how am I going to get thin if I can't abuse myself when I look in the mirror and say, God, Jason, you fat bastard, But they literally got rid of I Hate Fat People.
Jason's diet advice.
No, they literally got rid of I Hate Fat People. So you really can't make fun of fat people. And it's like, really? So when Chris Rock...
I was surprised they got rid of that one before some of the other much more vile ones, but whatever. I mean,
just like, I hate everybody. All right, listen. Oh, and did you answer this? She's not going to make it out of the year?
It doesn't matter because the founder sold, and it's owned by a corporation. And
no, it's spun out now. It's not owned by Condé Nast anymore. Okay. It's independent, and Alexis is there. I think Alexis takes over as CEO. That's my prediction.
Yeah.
I think
he's stepping in a little on some of the comments.
Yeah, this is a perfect case where the founder can come in and say, "Listen, we ran it this way for 10 years. We need to control this fringe over here. We're going to slowly." Take care of this while giving the rest of you great tools, because they really haven't communicated with the rest of the community at all. They've been very hands-off, which then also, when you're hands-off, it creates the idea that, like, yeah, anything goes. Yeah. So then when you do step in and like, yeah, you can't do that. It's like, we've been doing it for 9 years. You just found out about this. Like, this is what we do here. But she's the interim. She's not going to make it out of the year.
Bad year for her. Chalk that up as a...
Bad year or great year. Actually, I think...
Yeah, or a great year. She's become like a household name, at least in Silicon Valley now.
Yeah, I think she will do incredible.
Firebrand.
Yeah, I think she could do amazing as a commentator on TV. Like, because I saw some clips from her speaking. I think if she did a little bit of practice and got a coach, and she became a commentator on CNBC or a commentator on one of these news roundtables.
This is your career path for her?
I think it's a great career path for her because she cares very deeply about making change in the world, and she's obviously wicked smart, and she obviously, like you said, is like hyper confident in her position. If she got on TV and was a spokesperson or a commentator, I would tune in all the time to hear what she has to say next. I think she would be fantastic. I think that just like.
I don't know if she'd be game for that. I mean, like, I know we should probably get off the
Ellen Powell subject.
But I don't know.
What's next for her career?
She's a little bit press shy, even though the Kleiner. I mean, the Kleiner team really wanted to argue that she was like doing it all for publicity or this, or wanted to make a big statement.
Yeah, I don't believe that.
But I really don't think so. Like, as a reporter who's tried to get interviews with her and tried to sit down and talk with her, she's not really major. She didn't have a PR person there. Kleiner had a PR team. They had Brunswick and they had the whole thing. And she's not that press happy.
All right.
Okay, yeah, moving on.
When we get back from this commercial break, we're going to talk about the first non-accredited investor equity crowdfunding deal, Illio Motors, and we're going to talk about 3 different outages in one day, New York Stock Exchange, United, and the Wall Street Journal, and what's going on there. And then we're also going to talk about Nellie's working on a couple of pieces about Silicon Beach, and if Los Angeles will be an actual will actually be the real deal.
I love that Silicon Beach.
Silicon Beach, absolutely. And that the hacking team gets hacked. That's something that David's going to comment on when we get back. Hey, and let me just tell you about a product I love and use every day, and unfortunately I am not an investor in. It's called Envision App, and it lets you take all of those designs that your designers are sending you of your product, and they send it to you as a PDF, or they send you a JPEG or a GIF, or GIF if you like mispronouncing it. Instead of that, you just send a little Envision link. And then when you open it up on your phone, you can see the app as it would look on your phone. And then you can click on the links, and then you can put comments on it. And so now, instead of designing in a chat room or designing on an email thread, you're designing on the actual designs, hitting the C button, commenting, putting the crosshairs on this pixel and saying, you know what, instead of saying log in, we want to use the word join. And then checking off who in your team you want to have that discussion with. Okay, I want the head of product, I want the designer, and I want the iOS person to discuss this with me. Should we have join, or should we have log in or sign up? What's the better word? And then you have that nice threaded comment right there placed on the designs. It makes things so easy. They have over 300,000 designers using it, including Airbnb, Evernote, MTV, Adobe, Box, Zendesk. There's a list of companies for you. And the free plan and the starter plan for TWiST listeners is free for 90 days. That's a great deal. Unlimited screens, collaborations, real-time comments, sketch commenting, and more. Only at envisionapp.com/twist. Envisionapp.com/twist. I love this product. I use it daily. And it's really great for doing websites. It's really great for doing mobile. This is how design is done. And hey, here is a really good idea for you. When you're talking to an investor and you want to get a meeting, instead of sending a deck, just say, hey, I was wondering if you could take a look at the latest version of our app. Here's the mock-up that we haven't launched yet. Click here. And boy, does that work. When people send me an Envision link, 100% chance I click on it just because I like to look at product. Thanks again to our friends at Envision App for sponsoring the program. I give this product my highest recommendation because I use it every single day. Okay, back to the program. Enough with Ellen Powell. Let's move on to this crazy skyfall that happened. The New York Stock Exchange went out. They said it was United Airlines.
Yep.
And the Wall Street Journal. The New York Stock Exchange says it wasn't hackers, which to me means it's definitely hackers. Yep. United said it was a software glitch, and Wall Street Journal, I'm thinking now it's just everybody going to the Journal to hear about the New York Stock Exchange going down. But I don't know anything about this. What happened?
It's firmware. I'm going to read a headline from April 25th, 1997.
Okay.
Router glitch cuts net access. What started out as a router glitch with a small internet provider in Virginia today triggered a major outage in the internet access across the country, lasting more than 2 hours in some places.
Got it.
So what happens is networks they're so dependent on timing. The timing of the bits when it leaves my router goes into your router. And essentially a firmware bug got it loaded into a live router.
Right.
And that caused a cascading effect downstream.
Got it.
So this happens all the time. It's been happening. It'll always happen. It'll get worse.
And firmware, so for people who aren't aware, is
It's the software that makes the routers and
The
things
hardware
that are
run.
IoT kind of devices. Like routers would be a specific type of computer to move packets.
So was it hackers?
No,
It was just like a fluke. It was like a
even
bubble.
Sprint's network one time went down because a network engineer put in a wrong IP address. And what happens is these routers, IP networks, they're designed for nuclear war. Like if whole sections of the country get knocked out, the routers send the traffic around.
the original reason for ARPANET. Yeah.
Exactly. Yep. So what happens is when software goes out, just like a hardware thing goes out, the routers start reacting differently and sending those packets around the what happened. So to get the internet back up, they just turned on some older equipment that routed it through equipment that didn't have the software update.
I prefer the
back up.
conspiracy theory of the coming apocalypse.
Yeah, it did seem like in one
I don't
day.
know about this
Well, then-
firmware with the packets.
But also on the same day, you had China's stock market melting down and the whole Greece thing going on. There was definitely something in the air this past week. I don't know.
It's the revolution.
Everybody felt like it was going to be everybody seems to be on edge about like when is the bubble going to pop. And I had so many people tell me this is the week. Literally at the poker game this week, people were like,
Where's the poker game?
The poker game. Just leave it at that. The poker game. It's capital.
Chinatown, I'll give you
The game.
the end.
It's Chinatown. So anyway, at the game, the discussion was that this is it. China melts down. This is the end game. China melts down, and Greece exits the euro. The European economy freezes up a bit. Everybody gets conservative over there. They already have all kinds of issues about underemployment and taxes. And China, nobody knows what's going on there. Plus, these hacks start happening. Everybody's like, well, this is it. The stock market lost 2 or 3 points. China lost 20% of the gains or whatever. And then all of a sudden, the stock market came roaring back today on Friday.
It's a software glitch. There's other podcasts you can listen to, Adam Curry, and you can listen to...
Oh, no, don't get into that. Adam, because I just called Adam Curry. I was hosting This Week in Tech for Leo, and I just made some off-the-hand comment about, Adam being a conspiracy theorist and tinfoil hat or whatever, and I was just joking. And then all his fans are like, he's not a conspiracy theorist. I'm like, the show is about conspiracy theorists. That's exactly what it's about. And by the way, Adam is hilarious, and he's like the Howard Stern of, if you don't watch Adam's No Agenda, Agenda, right?
No Agenda, so great.
Yeah, so No Agenda is great. It's like, it's basically him and Dvorak debating, like, who's responsible for 9/11? And it's like, we saw the 19 people on camera. Like, I think we know. It's like, no.
Did Dvorak move to Texas yet? I know.
Oh, is he considering moving to Texas?
No. This is how rumors get started. But
yeah.
I know we all lived in LA at the same time. You,
Yeah.
Adam, myself,
Right.
and then Adam's like, I'm going to Texas.
Yeah, he's in Austin.
Austin, yeah. Which isn't really Texas. Austin's like the Berkeley of Texas. So it doesn't really count.
That's true.
Okay, so router software glitch, that's it.
All right, so we can move
Wow.
on from that. Looking at this non-accredited investors, I don't know if you guys have seen this, but Elio Motors is doing a non-accredited investor crowdfunding campaign, which is truly interesting.
And that's legal now.
It is legal now because
Of
it
the
was
Jobs
part
Act.
of the Jobs Act, correct?
And
now
that's how
that
those AngelList syndicates and stuff happen. That
Yeah.
you get followed on a lot
Yeah,
of those.
Jason
yeah,
got a
my
huge
Angelo
one.
Syndicate is
Yeah.
huge, but my Angelo Syndicate is for accredited investors, which are people who have a couple of $1 million in net worth, and they can prove it. So therefore, if they lose 25K, they can afford it.
Yeah.
What this is civilians are going to be able to put money into it, and this is the cockamamie scheme that they're doing. I'm pulling up on my screen right now, which is Elio Motors, which is a car that looks like this, which I actually think is a pretty interesting project. It's a 2x2. It's
Motorcycle seating.
a three-wheel car,
Yep.
and
Looks like
people
a death
sit
trap.
tandem. So you drive, and then your passenger's behind you. This thing it only costs $7,000, which is cheap for a car, obviously, but expensive for a scooter. And I think it's actually a motorcycle inside.
Is this like one of those Kickstarters
80
where
Yeah.
it's basically
Minus the Kickstarter, right? Kickstarter gets by with doing what they do because you get a perk. You're not investing in the product.
Yeah.
You just get the product.
You get a free perk.
Yeah.
And
T-shirt.
That's the loophole.
Right.
that
Yeah,
makes
but
it
there are all those
non-investment.
Kickstarters that don't work. People put $200 in and then it closes 6 months later. Is this just that on a large scale?
So I think that's exactly what this non-accredited investor ability to invest in is like. This might set precedents for Kickstarter as well, where it's
Kickstarter has been very clear of never doing it. These guys have 5,000 reservations, and it says there's a $25 million funding goal. 7% of it is filled, or 19 of the 25 million. And the day it launched, I think it was at 60 million. So something's going on here that doesn't add up to me. I don't think that they've raised 19 of the 15 million from non-accredited investors. But it says they have 19 million in non-binding indications of interest received so far. That to me sounds suspicious. What does that exactly mean? In non-binding indications of interest. That to me, why would you put this on your site? This to me seems like they're giving, I think this is really dishonest, I'll be honest. I don't have full data here. I'm just giving my impression as a consumer.
Does that mean that there's no contracts for this?
Non-binding indications of interest sounds to me like somebody said, I'll put money into that.
Yeah,
but
that's
they
like
didn't
my
put the
grandma
money in it.
being like,
Yeah, I would invest in that, sure. $25 million goal, 19 million in non-binding indications of interest received so far. So could this be one person who said, I'll put $10 million into this, and another person said, I'll put 9, and then
Well, did you
else?
get pulled into the Fisker deal? Because when I lived in LA, those guys took me to
No.
dinner, I don't know how many times.
They tried so desperately to get me in that deal, and I
Yeah.
was like, I'm friends with Elon. You guys stole the designs from him. I hope you die. I hate you. You stole the designs, and you double-crossed one of my good friends. I literally said to them, I hope you fail. And I don't hope failure on many people. I really hoped Fisker failed.
Well,
They did hard.
it happened. You did this. You caused the downfall.
Of course I did.
Fisker.
Of course I did. I got in their head. But you didn't invest, or you did.
I did not, no.
It was a
No.
dog.
Such a dog. But
Such a dog.
interesting to see how, I mean, we all watched the movie Tucker in the 90s probably.
Yeah.
The how you take a dream, and look, Tucker brought seatbelts. It took steerable lighting. It took a lot of things that normal automotive manufacturers didn't even think of. It was, for them, it was a cost. And Tucker sold these as features. And look at what Tesla did with the first car you bought, right? Which was
the Roadster.
The Mule, the Roadster, which had a Lotus body, and then the drivetrain. That drivetrain then went into the smart car. They licensed it to Mercedes. So I love the underdog coming and attacking the big automakers of the world. This Elio Motors, though, it smells like a dog to me, just like Fisker did.
Yeah, it does not smell right to me, although I am rooting for them. What do you think? Would you ever own one of these? Nelly, look at this thing up here. Pull it up.
oh,
on the screen
100%.
here.
I
You
mean,
would totally
honestly, it looks like a death trap, but I'm into it. I think.
Well, you drive a Vespa, right?
Scooting around San Francisco in that little thing,
Yeah.
something back, I like it. But this seems like one of those Kickstarters that it's going to collapse. Like, and people don't totally understand that. I don't think people understand the risk.
No.
But I'm also, my investment advice would always be like Vanguard funds for everyone.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I kind of feel like, what do you think?
This hasn't been the first trike that's tried to come to market. These fiberglass things have been popping up for years. There's one.
Would you drive one?
No, but
You're a Vespa guy.
Oh, come on.
I'm a
they'd be
Vespa.
so
I have a
fun.
few Vespas. Look up the Vespa. I'm sorry. Look at the BMW motorcycle that has the roll bar around it.
Yes, I've seen it. You see it in
these
Europe all the time.
Yeah, they're not here though. They're not
What
here
does
for.
a roll bar do?
There was one of those in Spy.
I heard it was-
There's a seatbelt.
In Spy. Oh my God! Wait, no. Did you guys see that Melissa McCarthy, the Spy movie?
No, I haven't seen it
Okay,
yet. No
whatever. She
spoilers.
gets in one and it falls over and it's adorable. But
I love her.
she's fantastic.
my favorite.
I would drive one for sure. I mean, I've seen weirder things around San Francisco.
Well,
Haven't
we all, my dear?
wrong.
Haven't we all? I've seen 3 things weirder than this vehicle today in San Francisco. And that was just around the corner from WeWork at the Tenderloin here. Hey-o. If this does succeed, what does it mean for the crowdfunding industry? What do you think? If one of these succeeds?
Maybe it changes the way. I think with Kickstarter doing a perk, it's kind of stupid.
Right.
But it's a loophole that they're going through. So maybe this changes
Yeah.
this
Like
idea
all
of a
those-
perk where you get actually
Equity in the
maybe-
movie.
Like all
or
those
the book.
early
Yeah.
Oculus fans who
Yeah.
then could have gotten a little bit
One
of
share each.
one share each.
Right.
It
I
would've
mean,
been
yeah, that
great.
would have been cool.
The share, if the share went up 10x, like let's say they gave them a $10, let's say they bought the Oculus for $200 and they gave them a $10 share.
Yeah.
And the company appreciated in value 50x.
Yeah.
Now they get $500 back on their share and they got the Oculus for free.
Well, Well, or something
Genius.
like people are talking a lot now about how startups are IPOing much, much later, and you have
Right.
things like Uber that are still private,
Yeah.
and Airbnb and whatnot. And I mean, you could think of this as a way in which your everyday citizen, as you phrased it, could still get in on the startup gains to be made.
Yeah.
But
That now are pretty much not on the. I mean, Uber, when it does IPO, a lot of the gains will already been made privately.
For sure.
But investors are in the business to make money, and if you hold on to keep this company private as a cash cow for years, like look at Uber, they're printing money because they take the money. Andrew Mason with Groupon, same way. Brilliant model to take money and then dole it out later.
Right.
Right. And I wish I went to the platform play with my current company, thinking like I'll build a highway and people have to drive on the highway and pay a toll. I wish I would have thought about like how I could turn this into a take the money play like Uber did. So investors in your investment documents, it says you have to go public or have some sort of an exit within, Jason, what is it, 3 years, 5 years, 8 years or something?
Yeah.
Most documents have this because the VCs, they don't want to hold on to assets forever.
Forever, yeah. Okay, so Meerkat is now letting people use Facebook and the Facebook feed. I had said a couple of weeks ago or months ago on CNBC that Meerkat was going to get bought by Facebook because I had a little bit of inside information. What do you guys think about just before we get into the
so
Facebook
smart.
integration, but what do you guys think of Periscope and Meerkat as a category? Do you use these? Do you think that these are going to be important,
I'm
Nelly?
the worst millennial. Like, I barely Snapchat. I find it all very confusing. But I think it's fantastic. I mean, I'm into it. I think they're...
Have you watched anything actually interesting occur on Periscope or Meerkat?
Kind of. My friend, I have this friend, Wendy McNaughton, who does drawings and illustrations, and she's been periscoping her drawings while she does her art. And that's really cool. And that's really fun to kind of be able to peer in. I think live video is huge. It's gonna be, it makes sense.
It's
like, it's just
groovy.
sort of logical. Like, of course. I'm kind of surprised we didn't already have something that did it.
Well, we did. We had Quick. They just didn't work, right?
Yeah.
Ustream and Quick tried to do it, and the bandwidth wasn't there.
Yeah.
And you didn't have the social graph.
Way early. Ustream, all the money they put in, like SoftBank put in a few $100 million.
Yeah.
I am opposed to vertical video.
Vertical, what does it mean? Oh, you mean like that, yeah.
Vertical video is this.
Yeah.
Vertical video is the devil. Video should be like this. Our eyes are placed left to right.
Yeah.
We are not cyclopses. We are not stacked top to bottom. So anything that puts video in that format, forget about it. But who has time for real time? Like the DVR fundamentally changed television, right? You could watch on your schedule. And with a lot of these, like Ustream had the ability to go back and record. Google Hangouts, the ability to go out and record. So the fact that you have to capture this stuff at the time of viewing, or if you try and watch it on a normal monitor later, it looks like crap. So not a fan.
Yeah, but it's like for live news. Like if I'm covering a protest or something, to be able to stream it live would be fantastic. I think it makes total sense. A little fun.
I don't believe in protests.
This is important news. This will be important news for you guys. Potbox is a luxury weed delivery service
yes, Uber
that
for
you've
weed.
been craving. You can get a box of pot sent to you for $150, and I'm not sure exactly how it's delivered by courier, right? The highest quality, most ethically grown cannabis available straight to your front door with strains and blends curated to meet the patient's desired experience.
Yep.
Each consists of a quarter ounce of cannabis in corked bottles.
Does that keep the dog scent off? I'm not sure what this corked bottle
I think
thing
it's legal
does.
now is the issue here.
Okay. But see, to me, this is a feature of Uber, right?
Yeah.
Uber delivers lunches. I did it. I met a lovely man on a bicycle. I had my Uber lunch delivered. And just to find out...
What does it have to do with the story on the...
Because
about
Uber
the
could
Uber
offer
food?
this weed as a feature, and
Oh,
then Travis...
the man on the
makes-
bicycle was working for Uber.
Uber, yeah.
Oh God, I thought this was like two separate.
I-
things. I met
I
a
was
lovely
just
man
going
on a
along
bicycle.
with it.
And I had lunch with him. I was like, okay.
No,
Welcome
Uber-
to San Francisco.
No, this happened in New York. Uber does lunch delivery in LA,
yes,
New
yes,
York.
yes.
I don't know if they do it here in San
I
Francisco.
don't know they do it here yet.
Yeah, but I bet that this is an Uber feature, and Potbox is going to, be trumped by Travis and his new double unicorn status with Uber weed delivery. My prediction right here on this
Right
week in
now,
startup.
Uber
right
weed
here.
coming. Well, there is
All for
one.
pot startups. It makes
There's a lot
sense.
of them now.
Yeah, I mean, there's already been a flourishing industry. Now it's just all sort of slowly moving into the legal zone, and so we're just going to.
Except for banking, which is interesting. As I talk to these
it
guys,
is hard for them still.
federal law mandates that weed is illegal, so therefore you can't get a bank account because it's federal. And even when these guys go to pay taxes, they have to go to the state tax department first, and they bring armored trucks full of cash to pay their taxes. Because if they think they're going to go to the federal to pay taxes first, the federal group will just seize all the rest of their money.
Oh my God!
Is that like the thing?
Really?
Yeah. This is like
Fascinating.
This is like first world problems. Where you can't
This
even
is
pay
real
taxes with
entrepreneurship.
this. Yeah.
One of my favorite things on the internet right now is people getting high for the first time. Pull up my screen for a second
This
here.
is like the virtual reality.
They're doing these videos now with grandmas and just anybody who wants to try cannabis for the first time, and they just, like, will let them smoke some weed, and then they come see them like whatever number of minutes later, and it's like, this is my first time smoking weed. It's quite charming. It's usually pretty funny. That dude is like, wow,
And that's
he wants more.
This is Discovery Channel did this?
I guess so. I mean, a bunch of people are doing these videos. They're like,
Drunk-
shocking videos of people smoking weed for the first time around. It's legal.
My favorite show is Drunk History, which
Yes.
if you can watch, Will Ferrell, I guess, started this.
They just talk
Yes.
really slow.
Yes.
And they're, but on a serious note, VCs are starting to look at this now and invest in these. And there's a lot of like,
Yes, they should be.
yeah.
I mean,
I'm thinking about it.
I don't understand why people still think it's fringe or sort of like shocking,
No.
like pot investments. Like, come on, I mean, we're adults.
But what's next? Porn? I mean,
What could be next?
what could be next?
Oh my
Well,
God.
here's the thing is,
yes,
like,
porn.
I do think that this-
yes, like what's
well, I think as a venture investor, when you have LPs, you have like clauses. You can't go into certain areas, and this is like one of the areas. It's like, hey, we don't want the investors don't want you to invest in something and then have it blow back on them with weed and stuff like that.
Is that a puff
Yeah.
puff pass
Yeah,
joke?
thank you for yes, exactly. But it's like you don't want that kind of blowback. Like, oh my God, all of a sudden I didn't know I was an LP in this fund, and they invested in a bunch of cannabis stuff. But they just had a company, Meadow, graduate from Y Combinator. I met with them as smart cats, and they're like actually sending the doctor to you.
Cool cats.
They're cool cats. They're groovy, super groovy, dude. But they send like a really groovy doctor to your house. He's like Dr. Groovy. Like I looked him up on Yelp because when I was like doing my due diligence. I was like, let me check out this doctor. I want to see what, because I typed, they have a specific doctor who comes, and I was like, okay, let me just type this guy's name into like Google, and like the Yelp reviewers are like, this is the greatest doctor ever. This doctor came to my house, and I was like, he's like, what hurts? He's like, I have my knee hurts, and
Everything.
he's like, you need a cannabis prescription.
you need some pot
You need some
immediately.
weed. Get this man some weed now.
I love
Stat.
that.
So they're actually making it like you can just literally have the doctor come for $150 or something unbelievably affordable, get your prescription, and then you're off the races.
What does it normally cost?
I have no idea, but the fact is they can come to your house
Yeah.
and give you the
Which they
prescription.
should. Like, we think it's funny, but the first time I really heard about medical cannabis use was my yaya, my like 80-year-old Greek grandma in La Jolla, was taking tons of painkillers and hated them.
Yaya.
And her yoga instructor, like you do, her yoga instructor in San
Yoga
Diego.
instructor's the hookup. Yoga instructor. That's the euphemism for pot dealer.
Gave her like pot seeds, and she grew them in her garden.
Aw, it's so
No,
charming,
It's like the
Yaya.
most beautiful little
Who wants a
story.
Greek coffee? Who wants a Saganaki? Who wants
so
to smoke
Yaya
a
was
blunt?
growing pot, and she was super proud.
Oh,
like
God,
next to her
so great.
roses.
It's okay.
And-
Yaya
and I
comes and
was
she's
like-
like, how are you doing? She's good. Take this. Take this. Go to your friends. Here, here's some
I
buds for
love-
you. Here's
I
some
was all
I made
for
some
it.
great butter.
This is
Try the
great.
phyllo dough.
I was trying to think of
Seriously.
like, this is a better end of the story that me thinking like Snoop being a board member would be a great, like, because Snoop's
Snoop has
investing.
a fund.
He's a weed fund, right?
I know. I got pitched on this, and I was like,
For shizzle?
for shizzle, and I was like, I might invest in this fund strictly to go to the annual meeting. Because if I put 50K into this fund and I go to 7 annual meetings, it's going to cost me like 7K on average. I think that's about 7K worth of
Entertainment.
Friendship. and entertainment
with
and-
Snoop Dogg. Can
Yeah.
I buy friendship with Snoop Dogg?
I love it.
Yeah, you can, basically. It's very interesting, like, to think where we'll be in 10 years with this. Where do you think, now that we see 2 states, I think it's, if I'm correct here, Jackie will tell me, I think it's 2 states, it's completely legal for recreational, and then it's probably 15 or 20, it's completely decriminalized and for medical usage. Where will we be in 10 years with this? Do you think a major brand like a Starbucks will emerge? Do you think it will be in Whole Foods? Let me ask those two questions. Whole Foods, 10 years, majority of states, yes or no? Or in any Whole Foods. Let's do a long bet
Whole
here.
Foods is Austin-based, so definitely.
All right, hold on. Let me. Okay, here's how we'll do it. How many years? Because we got to get some money on this. We got to put a lunch on it. So you'll set the line.
Okay.
And then we'll bet. So this will be for a sushi lunch. Jackie will put the date, and it's going to be we'll make it a. You set the line. How many years?
I know where you live.
How many years until Whole Foods or another major supermarket chain? Or should we just do Whole Foods?
Or another major supermarket chain. Who knows if Whole Foods...
IGA is not going to pull out the...
Well, then that just... Okay, so but anyway.
Yes, true.
Whole Foods or another major food chain with over 100 locations offers cannabis. How many years? So it could be a Starbucks, it could be a Whole Foods. Somebody with over 100 locations, like a major supermarket chain or a major cafe chain, offers cannabis on the menu. How many years?
I'm getting a vision from my iDevice.
Okay, here we go.
And this
how
is
many
the
years?
Great Karnak?
Yes. You pick the years, and then we're going to go high or low.
This is 2020.
Okay, set the line.
Salad department. I see the department. Salad.
Salad.
Definitely salad.
Definitely in the salad department. Next to the oregano and the basil.
Yes, that's it.
By the by. No,
2020.
okay, 2020.
2020.
So
What
you
year
say
is it
2020.
now? 2016, 2015?
15, yeah.
We're talking about cannabis. Did you get high before you came in here? It's 2015,
I need to do
Nelly.
some math.
Nelly's
I'm trying
what
to do
year is
math
it
in my
again?
head. It's really
it basically means 4.5 years.
Okay.
It'll be there. So you're going to pick the over or the under, and we're both going to bet him for sushi lunch. And the sushi lunch will be capped at $100 per person.
I mean, I think it'll happen fast. Like social change,
Okay.
we saw with gay marriage, social change
Boom.
happens slowly, and then all of a sudden it's like really fast.
But
Yeah.
Obama
So I think-
is trying to get the last hurrahs in.
Yes,
so
I think
this
it'll
is just-
happen fast, but I don't think it'll happen that fast with the Whole Foods. I would
Okay,
go,
so you're going to go the over.
I'm going to go the over.
I'm going to take the over too. So you may be So
Sorry
we
about
book
that.
this now. We've got basically. It's going to be 4 years is 48 months plus 6 months, 54 months from now. Basically, we'll have the bet cashed in. It is pretty miraculous how amazingly the world is changing so quickly. All right, welcome to the Unicorn Club. 23andMe, $79 million Series E, $1 billion valuation, 2.5 times bigger than their D round in 2012. They will focus on developing drugs, focused on international markets. FDA reversal
FDA
is
approval
likely.
there. Man, let me just tell you this. I've had some insight into this industry and what they were doing. They were literally getting queried monthly by the FDA when you could do the full, what was it, the $4.99?
It was fantastic.
Yeah.
You could get the full test.
The full test, right? $4.99 or $3.99, whatever it was.
It was
And-
cheap. It wasn't
Not expensive.
No, it was like $100.
No. The $100 one's the light version.
Oh.
The light one was the one they were clipped because they couldn't go. They were doing things that the whatever the governing bodies are were querying this.
This would be the FDA.
23andMe.
Yeah.
They were querying them, saying, "What are you doing?" And they were literally not responding to their requests.
For how many months?
Years.
Years.
Let's just like screw you guys. We're doing our thing.
The FDA have
We're
something better
smarter."
to do. Like, leave us alone if we want to
I
know.
think what-
I'm mad that they shut it down. I loved my 23andMe, mostly because it said I was
But
perfect in body and health. And
It did?
So I was,
But this
It was
I
like,
loved it.
you're going to live forever.
But you,
Congratulations.
You can go on eBay
No,
to
but
this
I
day
mean,
and
like-
you can buy the older kits that are grandfathered
Really?
in, that are the super
Ah.
expensive kits that tell you the stuff that the FDA is saying you cannot tell people this because
You can't tell them like you have the
Why?
Parkinson's marker. You can't dole out advice because they're afraid that if you give advice, people might take action on
Consumer
it.
might know something about their
themselves.
own body.
It's ridiculous. They should just give a big disclaimer when you open the package.
Yeah.
We're going to tell you stuff that is not completely proven. Do you accept this, yes or no?
unfortunately that doesn't matter because if you know this shit, you're gonna go.
There's 20 bucks.
Let me
Boop.
let
20
me
bucks.
find out what I need to do
Exactly.
to make myself.
And here's the
What's
thing:
wrong
people
with
in
that?
Canada can just go do this.
Yeah.
Like, I think the FDA is just really afraid that people are going to start putting a bunch of stuff on the market, and then dumb people are going to be like, "Oh, I did a swab test, and now I think I have cancer or something."
I'm not usually like a Silicon Valley libertarian, but
Yeah.
in this case, I think it's like they're trying to make a nanny state, and we can't.
Yeah. It's very nanny
And it's like
state-ish.
people treating people like they're too stupid to be able to handle the gray area of like, okay, this test may or may not be completely accurate, but like doctors may or may not be completely accurate.
Frequently
I
wrong,
mean,
what did you learn? Why did you take it as a young person, and what did you learn?
I was curious. I just wanted to know.
Did you learn anything interesting? I mean, I don't mean to pry into your DNA.
No, but like, no, I didn't learn anything that interesting actually. But I wanted to know about like.
Did you learn about your heritage?
I didn't care. I know my heritage. I'm half
Well,
Greek and I'm half Irish. So
Oopa.
Oopa. So
Yeah.
like I can ask my parents.
You're half Greek and half Irish?
English-Irish on the other side.
Okay, because I'm half Irish.
Are you?
Quarter Greek, quarter Swedish.
Wait, really?
We are almost identical. We should
You could be
totally do our DNA together.
maybe
we should find out what's going on here.
I think what's cool is you can find
We're
out what cousins you
siblings.
have.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally
You can
related.
check the
It's
box.
pretty strange. Like the Irish, I've never met anybody who's Irish and Greek. That is a very
Yes.
unique combination.
I think it's a good combination.
It's
I
a
think
great
the ideal.
It
combination.
sounds volatile
But
to
I just
me.
wanted to know.
It's not volatile.
I really want
It's
out of
very
this room.
loving.
This room seems very small now. It's, you might throw some plates.
It was
could
just
be
like a
some breakage.
self-awareness, and I wanted
Right.
to know if I have or if I have like the Parkinson's or the breast cancer, especially like the breast cancer
Yeah.
marker. That I think is super useful because I've never gotten. I go
getting,
to
like,
I go to the
mammograms
doctor
or
like
whatever,
once every
like-
5 years, but if I
Right.
had some marker, maybe I'd go more often. Or I don't know.
Absolutely, you would. Yeah, I don't understand how we make the FDA more progressive. Like we have to put more money into it or whatever. Or it's really like the SEC. We're seeing this great change there with what we talked about with the story with Elio Motors, where okay, consumers can put $100 on roulette in Vegas. They can buy scratch-off lottery tickets, but they can't put it into this crazy three-wheel startup. Seems to be their odds of a return when the three-wheel startup might be better than going to Vegas or using the scratch-off tickets.
It's true.
Just, call me crazy, but the chances of winning with, getting a return on your $100 is definitely greater than playing the Super Bowl lottery,
Yep.
or whatever it is.
Super Bowl lottery? What's that?
Super Bowl?
Super
Moneyball?
Ball.
What do
Super
they,
Bowl? Ball.
What do they call the mega?
The mega
Mega ball?
win.
Mega.
Yeah.
All right, Powerball. Thank you, Emmy Award-winning producer Jackie, coming to the rescue. Thank you for Powerball.
First thing I did when I turned 18 was get a ton of scratchers. all
Did you really?
scratchers. And let me tell you, I lost
Wow,
money.
you are a huge.
I
nerd.
lost money on
You are
those
such a rebel.
scratchers.
She's like,
I went wild, guys. It
she's
was
like,
boarding
screw
school.
it. I'm gonna get some scratch-offs. Wow, God, I hope my daughter grows up to be as rebellious as you. Dad, I have a confession. What is it? I wasted $20 on scratch-off tickets. What? That's it. Go to your room. Dave, a hacking team has been hacked.
Hackers gone wild.
What exactly is going on here? Because this looks like it's really a story that maybe should have gotten more attention than it did. The nice firmware update got a ton of attention, but this is a company that does hacking for a living.
Yeah,
got
it's
hacked.
an Italian CEO.
Uh-huh.
You can follow the story on this by looking at hashtag #HackTeam on Twitter. You can
Hack
see all-
Team, yeah.
Hack Team, yeah. And basically, it was a CEO in his 40s and a bunch of kids that worked for him, and they would figure out vulnerabilities just like the NSA did to get into. But it was like NSA for hire.
Right.
You could hire Hack Team, and if you were
In Italy or
they were
distributed?
Italy, but they would do this everywhere.
Yeah.
In fact, their customer database was put out. FBI was a customer, CIA was a customer, a few like Sudan and Ethiopia, countries that maybe had a little bit of human oppression that maybe might not be so cool. So,
So they wanted to hack on their own citizens and be like, crack this person's phone or
Exactly,
crack
yeah.
this corporation,
Yeah,
or
when
do
you
you know what they were trying to do?
so I think it's really everything's fair game in the world of hacking, right?
Right.
And because everything's IP based these days, even the voice over IP phone on your desk, the laptop with the camera on it, these devices can just be turned on remotely through vulnerabilities. What I love that came out of this is the source code. And now Adobe has already patched vulnerabilities that they had. And the more plugins you have with your computer, the more things that are vulnerable. And look at what happened with Samsung has had issues, Lenovo has had issues with these root certificates, and a lot of the security that we think we take for granted because we see the padlock show up. If the certificates are compromised, it doesn't matter. People are going to get into your system.
I really think they should sell laptops without a speaker on them, without a microphone, and without cameras on them.
Really?
And that should be plugged in to the USB port. It shouldn't be native in it.
Like it used to be.
I put
Like it
a little
used to be.
sticker on my camera.
I do the same thing.
Yeah, like
we
a
are tinfoil
paranoid,
hats.
crazy person. I know.
Well, I just think like it's like, okay, well, I have my laptop in my bedroom or something. It's just
Yeah.
like, this is crazy. Like, but it's
Everything
obvious
can
they
be
can
turned
turn
on.
this stuff on.
Yeah.
And in fact, there's been many instances of people doing this to, exes and other people who they, get their IP addresses. What's the best way to protect yourself, Dave?
So you can turn your screen, clamshell your computer, close it down. For a while, when I was the in-house inventor at Radio Shack, we had a product that went on your cable modem, and you literally would shut your house off from traffic. And Motorola actually made a cable modem that had a switch on the top. Now, nowadays, because you're streaming to your Sonos, because you have your Nest or Dropcam or whatever you have, it's a little tough to firewall off your house these days.
Right.
So the best thing you can do is just
Move to a cabin in Wyoming.
Well, no, there's some women that are too susceptible to radio waves that live in a cave in France. So they literally go underground to stay away from radio data because it messes with their internal wiring.
What?
Yeah, it's a great story. These women have lived a life in a cave to get rid of stray radio waves. Think about it. We're being bombarded.
Wait. Is that legit science that they're allergic to radio waves?
So some people are highly sensitive to radio transmissions. And think about some people have like superhuman hearing where they can hear the little, whatever it is. So literally people...
I buy it.
Electromagnetic hypersensitivity
It's a thing.
is apparently a thing.
Yeah, it's a thing. I don't have it.
This is why I'm not feeling good. It can't be the donuts. Electromagnetic hypersensitivity, EHS, is a group of symptoms purportedly caused by exposure to electromagnetic fields. A more specific term, blah, 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 blah. The reports include headaches, fatigue, stress. I have all of that. Sleep disturbances, skin symptoms like burning sensations. I don't have that. This is amazing, huh?
Yep. So this is, when I started the company New Era, which is capturing radio waves to create actions automatically, I was researching like all these phenomena that people had, and you have people that are turning themselves into cyborgs, where they put magnets under their fingertips so they can feel the magnetic pulse of motors nearby, and you have. Because wouldn't it be cool to figure out if there's like electricity traveling through a wall, you could put your little finger next to it and kind of feel the pulse of electricity.
Well, here's the thing. Since systematic review in 2005 showing no convincing scientific evidence for it being caused by electromagnetic fields, several double-blind experiments have been published, each of which has suggested that people who report electromagnetic hypersensitivity are unable to detect the presence of these fields and are likely to report ill health following a sham exposure as they're following the general electromagnetic field, suggesting the cause to be a nocebo effect, which is, I guess, different than a placebo effect. Nocebo effect is an inert substance or form of therapy that creates harmful effects in a patient. I get it. That's genius. Nocebo.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Have you ever heard of the nocebo? All right. Which one of us will get to use that in the next column? Whoever drops nocebo next. I'm going to work that in. Do you ever do that as a writer when you find a great word?
Totally.
You're like, I just got to drop this. Somehow I've got to put nocebo in there.
I love
it. I don't go for the fancy words that people know. I like to put in words that people don't know.
Right. I carry $2 bills around with me, and if I hear a word that's like, oh yeah, you get $2 for that, and most people haven't seen a $2.
Wait, you do this? You carry around $2 bills
in
your pockets?
I love vernacular.
It's so weird that you do that. I carry $2 bills as well.
I'm a fan of vernacular. Yes, I'm that nerd.
You are a. All right.
That's
So there's
so
no way
cute.
that
I
this is
love
true. It cannot possibly be true that people are actually allergic to that.
Talk to the women in the cave. That's what I say.
All right, and Can Loyens, this is our sex teaser story of the day. Can Loyens, a sex scandal, couple having sex on the red carpet or a PR stunt. And is this pushing the advertising limits? I don't know anything about this. Anybody know about this?
Do you guys know the show Cannes Lion? It's just like the film festival for advertisers. So,
yeah.
So all of New York and Europe goes.
What would it be a PR stunt for?
Well, this it's a little bit out of control. It's like South by Southwest for Europe, but it's all the parties on yachts.
Yeah.
It's like this year it's so up to.
Well, here's the here we go.
The photo is great because. Above
well, I can show the photo because it's not very graphic.
It's not like
safe
for work.
They're wearing clothes, so this is definitely fake.
Yeah.
Look.
So this, it says, there's a really happy sign, "We'll see you in the morning," which is this massive LED wall. And we'll see you back tomorrow. And I was just getting off a yacht. I was at the Daily Mail yacht.
You were there.
Who had the best yachts.
Daily Mail, which is the publication which has the right-hand strip along it with like everything the Kardashians are doing in real time, unless they have to break in with Ben and Jennifer news or Ben and whoever news.
Kim was on the boat with me. All the rappers.
You just refer to Kim Kardashian as Kim.
It's Kim, yeah. I think we're beyond KK or
You guys go way back.
Yeah,
it
we go
sounds
way
like.
back.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I just got off the yacht. I was walking by.
How's her pregnancy, by the way? I haven't caught up with her. She doing okay?
And the red carpet, it's so high above street level that I was flabbergasted that I did not see the action ensuing on the red carpet as I wish I had.
These people are not actually making love, though.
No,
It's
but there's-
obvious this is a setup.
There's a shoe off to one side. It's like this campaign, it could only be Ogilvy.
What?
Because it's so
What would
understated.
be-
And then this person, I guess,
It's
tweeted
kind of
it.
interesting.
Yeah,
I
so
didn't
there
even
was a
think about it.
party.
When I saw that, I assumed, yes, it was sex. I would never...
There's a part, it might have been heavy petting or
Yeah.
something of that nature.
Wow.
We could have
But-
been making out. I mean,
But there was another party going on across the street because the whole hotel block on this Côte d'Azur has all the parties looking down upon the riffraff of society, leaving the yachts and stumbling home as we do. And
is
yeah.
it just like a drunken orgy of a conference? Is that what this is? It's just like this
party?
party. So people are going crazy.
Drunk orgy with ad tech guys. That
No,
sounds...
it's not the ad tech people. Those are that's like the sideshow over here.
Okay.
These are Madison Avenue.
Exactly, yeah.
Ad executives. Like these are the cool people.
Okay,
who
that sounds
like,
fun.
yeah,
For-
this is like we want to go to this party. This is the party we want to go to.
But they
like-
gave us ad tech guys the last 2 days. So Thursday, Friday were
Yeah,
the
no,
last,
we're out
ad
before
tech
that.
guys.
We're out.
Yeah,
We're
everyone
out.
else
We're
is
going.
gone.
Nellie
All
and I are going back
the
to
nerds
Paris
were left.
after that.
Yeah.
Fuck it, we're not. God, now I got $20 in the swear jar. We gotta get the swear jar back. God, I really just had to have for it. on the
I
show.
didn't swear once. I've been very good.
But it was pretty interesting. The Con Lion is the question is, do we need this? Because when we get rid of old school Madison Avenue and go to new school, everything's trackable. But still, new campaigns are coming out every day with digital. And now it's what do you do with the developing markets, India, Africa, and they're all going to mobile phones. They don't have televisions. So that's
Yeah,
what,
they're gonna watch like 15-second little looped.
or they're
things.
doing telephone where you call in or you get callbacks. Remember callbacks when that
Yeah.
was a thing?
Yeah, yeah.
So you text a number and then they call you back and you get to hear a radio program on your phone. So really interesting stuff coming out of Conline.
Really? So they actually have a lot of ad stuff. What other interesting ad technologies did you see there? Or
So
interesting stuff.
my favorite was
Anything scary?
My favorite was rosé time. So rosé is flowing in the south of France. Everyone's drinking rosé. And
Wait, is that a thing? Is rosé the
Rosé is the
beverage
thing.
of?
South France? The thing.
yeah.
Well, I know of South France, but is it a Canloyan thing or no?
Oh, because you're in south of France.
Got it,
So-
okay.
So this group that event-based, they do the app for South by Southwest, and they're
Mm-hmm.
a pretty notable group of guys. They did an app where you could order rosé from your iWatch, and they used beacon technology to have the rosé delivered directly to you.
Really?
That way.
So like a guy on a motorbike just comes screeching down and hands you
Exactly.
a
One
flute.
thing to
A
do with
flute of
your
rosé.
Apple Watch.
Yeah, because
Like,
you think about it, the bottles are heavy, they're unwieldy. Sometimes they're too cold.
That's
to
what I
touch.
always say when I have champagne or
Right?
when I
Too
I'm
unwieldy.
always like, this Veuve Clicquot is delicious.
Too
but
cold to
How am I going to deal with this bottle?
Yeah.
It's too
And I've
cold
seen
on
you
my
open
little
them
delicate
with the
fingers.
saber. You're
Yeah,
savoring them
I
open.
open them with the
and-
saber all the time. That's
Of
my
course, and
thing.
it's
You
just
do not.
And that gets just dangerous.
Take a memo. Can we get a saber for Bastille Day? And I am not kidding. We definitely
Oh,
need to
yeah.
get me a
oh
saber
yeah, I
for
heard
Tuesday.
about Bastille Day.
Are you coming?
And I'm coming.
It's going to be.
I think
so
I'm coming.
It's
It's
Tuesday.
invite only.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Tuesday. I got
Very
550.
I'll be
people
coming back from
RSVP'd.
San Diego on a little prop plane with the CrossFit founder.
Oh,
I'm following him for 2
I don't
days.
want you doing that. Actually, I was gonna. Please don't go on a prop plane.
I know, it's a little 4%. I'm scared, actually. I might die.
Don't take small planes.
Okay.
People die on small planes. Just
Really?
don't. I mean, do it this one time, but don't make a habit of it.
Okay, yeah, no,
Like
I know.
literally, I walk up to small planes. Like I was coming back. I was coming back from Necker Island. Hold on, I dropped something. I just said goodbye to Richard Branson, and
I hate you.
so literally, my wife booked us on a small plane that
Yeah.
was 6 seats, where
Yeah,
you get in
this
and
is
they
a
close
six-
it over your head.
This is a
And I was
six-seater.
like, I walked up to it and I was like, is this the pilot? The pilot's like 25 years old.
Wow.
And I was like, I said, is there another pilot? And they're like, no, it's one pilot. I was like, we're not getting on. My wife's like,
Really?
what? I'm like, we're not getting on the plane. Sorry. We have a child. We're not getting on the plane. We walked back. I burned the $1,000 in tickets.
Yeah.
No refund. I don't give a. I don't care. Went back. I said, when's the next flight? They said, this is the flight. Great. I got that flight. Then I bought another $1,000 in tickets on like a regular plane, which was a much bigger plane.
Yep.
And I was like, that's it. I'm sorry. It's just not worth it.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
never
right.
taking these small planes because these are
Oh
how
God, you're
people
making
die.
me nervous. I really am going on Monday.
You don't have to. Just do the interview with him and then.
I have to. I want to. I want the full immersion experience. I'll survive. I'll call mom before I go.
Yeah, just don't make a habit of it because
King Air,
literally.
is that as small as you go?
I won't go on a King Air, no.
What about
Pilatus.
What about the flights that go back and forth between?
I'll do a
LA
Pilatus, which is like a turboprop, which is the safest plane. But I literally, if I go on one of those small planes, I look up and I check out who the pilot is. I check out all that stuff
tail
because
number? Do you look at service records?
no, I
Oil
don't.
change?
I won't fly on regional airlines. That's the thing. People die on regional airlines are
Yeah.
like literally 5 times less safe than commercial airlines. Airlines from other countries, depending on the country, 10, 20 times more dangerous. These other countries don't value life. They value like saving a buck. So like if the airline CEO or the people who are putting the parts in can put in counterfeit parts, they put in counterfeit parts.
Yeah, I wouldn't say they don't value life. It's more like
They value
just
money over
are
life.
Cutting corners.
I don't think they value life, actually. I think if anybody who valued life would not be like, I'm going to put in these parts that are like, I think it's short-term greed. They may not, I agree, in their mind, they might not be like, people are going to die.
It's
They're just
short-term
like,
thinking.
yeah, they're just short-term thinking. Like, I could save money by putting this
Well,
counterfeit
now I'm
parts
nervous
in.
for Monday.
Well, the thing is,
Freelancing in danger.
this is the CEO of CrossFit. Like, he's got a
Yeah.
lot of money, or she's
Yeah,
got a lot of
yeah.
money. Like,
It's gonna be fine.
they probably have a really good plane. It's probably, I'm going to guess it's a Cirrus with the parachute.
Okay.
Is it a Cirrus?
I
It's
don't
not
know.
that many seats though. Cirrus is only
Cirrus is 4-seat.
4-seat.
Yeah, I think
she
it's
says
4-seat.
I bet you
They
it's a
said
Cirrus.
they said it's like a Tesla. They said it's like the
that's-
It's a
size
Cirrus.
of a
It's a
car.
Cirrus.
That's cool.
The Cirrus is incredibly safe because it's known for having a parachute in it. It's the
Oh.
only plane with a parachute. So what happened was
so
they
I'm good.
made.
Okay, so all that fear that just coursed through my body is I'm good.
We
I'll
give
show
and
you.
we take from you.
Tell her about the Cirrus plane.
Enjoy the
Scared.
ride.
My palms are sweaty. You don't want
Explain to her what the Cirrus plane is. It's a good topic.
So this,
Like they
so
really
there's,
are.
there's a ripcord above for anyone to grab. I suggest you don't grab it during flight.
Okay.
When you rip it, a parachute comes and it tears through the carbon fiber fuselage and cradles the plane down to safety.
Okay, cool.
And there's really cool
Gold.
video.
I'm good.
of
It
this.
is the coolest thing ever because.
fan.
But what happened was they had built the plane. This is a story I heard from somebody I know who had one, and I've flown in them a couple of times. And here is actually them testing it. You can actually see what happens. So this is, I think, when they tested it, they had to have a test video here. And what's really, you'll see in a minute, it's going to pop out of the top. And they built this plane with very small wings, so it was really functional and whatever. And they realized, like, oh, it can get a little out of control, this plane. So here it's stalling it. Boom, there goes the thing.
Oh my God.
Boom, it opens up. It's the only plane that has this in the world that I know of. And it looks like it's about to hit head first, but what happens is, boom,
It tears
now it does
through
like
the
this,
fuselage.
and
Just
it's
amazing.
going to slow it down, and when it lands, your plane will break, but it's going to land, and it should land, see that? Boom.
Boom. One-time use. You can't.
Your
can't
plane
fly
is
after this.
destroyed after this, by the way. There's no way for the plane to recover, because when those struts hit, it's going to just not be pretty.
Wow, that's amazing.
It's pretty amazing. Oh, they're going to land it in water here. I've never seen that. And this plane has the most advanced avionics in the world for like these small planes. And so people who are not rated to fly at night or whatever, they just look at the dashboard and they can fly at night. They can fly into weather. And so they call this the CEO killer, this plane, because people get so confident in it, like after flying for 40 hours, that they think they can do anything. And God rest his soul, but JFK Jr. wasn't in a plane like this. He was in another plane.
Yeah.
And check this out. Look at this. Wow. He's still coming down, and they open the windows.
This actually isn't the test flight. This is from January of this year. This was a guy who ran out of fuel. So this is the Coast Guard.
Oh, the Coast Guard is
He called
videotaping.
in the Coast Guard ahead of time to let them know that he needed a water rescue. And so
Wow.
yeah, this is just first of the year this happened. It's a really good story. You can read about this if you Google the
How do
Cirrus.
you know all this stuff?
yeah, how do
You're
you know
such
this?
a genius, Dave.
Thanks.
How did you
Look
come
at
up with
that.
the Q cat if you're so damn smart? It's unbelievable. Did you overthink that?
is
Look at that. This dude is
amazing.
landing
Isn't that great?
in the water.
And now
he's
he's
getting out.
out.
Does he have a parachute
No
on?
way.
Hey,
No.
I would suggest he has a life
Whoa,
raft on.
he's got a boat. He's got an inflatable boat. And look at this.
Isn't this
Oh
crazy?
my
Wait, that
God,
is
that is
so
epic.
insane.
Yeah.
So he's on the wing, getting dragged around now. See, what's happening now is I think the parachute's still in the air because of the wind, and that's getting so that is
Right,
like a
yeah.
kiteboard now.
That is
This is the
fascinating.
greatest thing I've ever
Watch
seen.
that
Wow.
flip.
Okay, if that happens on Monday.
Look, it's flipping.
And now
Oh my
he's-
God! And he just jumped off the
He's
wing.
off. I would have walked around it.
Look at there he is. Boom.
And
He's
he's-
like, see ya.
And
Oh,
he's on
there's
like a
this
little
little
raft.
raft.
Yeah, all of these planes have a raft in them.
Amazing.
Look at they cut to you guys. You're like this.
We're both just like I'm
So anyway,
like sweating.
when this happens, hey, pull the video back up. Let the video play. I mean, it is incredible. When this happens, Nelly, you are going to
Look at
be
that.
able to do the most incredible story. This will be when
Yeah.
you write your
God.
biography. When you write your
That
biography, this is
will
the
be-
opening
We
scene.
suggest a
Oh.
water landing.
Oh, it's fantastic.
This
You're
is the
right.
opening scene. You should
All the
pray for
magazine
this.
awards.
That's-
Yes.
It's a magazine award waiting to
Yeah.
happen.
Put the link to this story in the show notes. It's a great
For
story.
sure, we'll put it in the show notes.
That's cool.
It's good.
Oh, I'm
I
excited.
like
now.
weird things, Jason. That's why.
know.
That's why I'm.
That's so
Yeah,
cool.
that's why you're you.
That's why I'm me.
All right. Anybody see any? We'll close up with this. Anybody see any interesting technology or startups in the last couple of weeks? Something that you looked at or you downloaded that you were like, "Wow, this is completely interesting and worthy of sharing."
I got my Pebble Time recently, and this has an
Oh, is that the
e-ink
color one?
The color e-ink screen.
How long
It
does that
updates-
last?
It lasts a week. The
1
battery
week?
life is a week. The animations are so
Wait,
adorable.
it's really cute.
Super cute. I gotta say, Pebble.
Wait,
I was in their.
like this little thing.
I was in their office when they hit. It's not a touchscreen. The button's on the side, so they saved a lot of money because they didn't go capacitant screen.
What does it cost? $200?
Yeah, whatever the Kickstarter thing was, 250 maybe. Now it's.
We just had Eric on the show, man. I'm very happy.
I gotta say, I'm always on the road, always traveling.
And
I
that
stop
you
at
like
nothing
it.
to promote New Air, and I don't have to bring a charger with me to charge every
Yeah.
night. It's amazing.
It's amazing.
That is nice.
Yeah. So I'm a big fan of this. Whatever e-ink they used.
I have the
it's-
iWatch. I haven't worn it in 3 weeks.
Yeah, I've heard. I mean, I just don't.
It's not essential. There's no good app
Yeah.
for it.
What about sending your heart rate to your loved ones? So did you ever do that?
No, my wife does not care about my heart rate.
Yeah.
Trust me.
I know you're-
My wife
she'd
finds me
be
annoying.
Like, why?
Yeah.
I'm always
What
like,
are you
baby,
rocking
baby,
now?
baby.
You're
She's like, I'm
sending
busy.
me.
What are you sending me?
What's your watch now? Is that the
So this
HR
is
charge?
the Fitbit.
Charge.
The Fitbit with the GPS.
Okay.
And so I sent these to my brothers, and we're all trying to lose weight together.
Okay.
And so we're like, the reason I
Sweet.
sent it to them is because it has like, I love the basis, but the basis didn't have the social piece. So the social piece is we can all do a weekend warrior contest, a work week hustle contest.
Yep.
And I see their steps, and then I'm sending them the scale, and then I'm setting up a weight bet between my
Cool.
two brothers.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
fun.
and
That's
we're
cool.
gonna do a whole weight bet
Nice.
where like, if they win, I'll like boom blow them up with a ton of cash,
Yeah.
and then if they lose, like I'm gonna like.
So it's interesting
You
you
know,
went
whatever.
gadget with this because gadget fatigue on these wearables. I have a couple of them. The
Yeah.
Misfit, which is kind of like
Oh.
art. There's
Yeah.
two types of wearables. There's the data collectors and the data display devices.
What does
Right.
that little
And
creature
this is
do?
the Misfit. It just looks at
startup.
accelerometer, motion, how little sleep I get as an entrepreneur.
Is it
and it
better
shows the
at
time.
motion than like my phone? Because my
So
phone already tells me how
exactly.
many
So that's
steps
what I
I
wanted
do.
to get at with this because there's an M7 processor, which is what Apple calls their little processor. All the smartphones these days have this processor.
That's all I want is step count.
Yeah, the health app, you can
Yeah.
it'll show you altitude, stairs climbed. It'll do all this stuff and it's
Get the
built in.
Fitbit. Hey, hold on a second. Hey, can somebody somebody watching the show say, please, at Fitbit, give, at Nelly Bowles, blow her up with some free product, please, for the love
No.
of God. Blow her
No.
up with some free product.
I-
Yes, I insist.
I-
A loaner unit for 1 year. Only for the time she needs to review it, which is 1 year.
But there's an
Those-
app, Moves.
What's the point of being a journalist if you can't get some
I would
free
like
product?
to be able to have sex again in my life, and
Yeah.
these smartwatches, I fear, would
Yes.
get in the
It's just
way of
basically
that
like
activity.
kryptonite. Kryptonite for hooking
Wow,
up.
look at me. I'm like,
know.
Yeah,
the
you are-
7
by the
smartphones
way,
in my
it's like-
bag.
I like you guys
you
a
just
lot.
got you just got left swiped. Is it left
I
swipe? or
did. I
right
got
You're
left swiped.
swiped.
I got so left
Literally,
swiped.
I showed up the poker game with. I showed up at the game. I'm sorry, at the game a couple weeks ago with both watches,
Yeah.
and literally got left out of the room. And
No
like I'm
way.
literally being made fun of for an
And
hour.
the game was in Chinatown in San Francisco.
There's the game is the
At
game's the
what
game. It's at a
restaurant?
house. It's not
Everyone's
it's not a
invited?
card room. It's the game. But anyway, it is literally like kryptonite. What's the story now? They're going to have Tinder profile.
Verified Tinder
Verified
profiles.
Tinder pro.
I
What is
think
this
it's
about and
gimmicky.
why?
I think it's gimmicky. I think it's silly.
Like, I mean, if you're going to go have sex with like Justin Bieber, like you'll know it's Justin.
Yeah, it just
He
seems.
by his high voice. Is that how you know?
No, he tweeted his butt.
Wait, that wasn't
that
it.
was Michael Jackson. It's really disturbing. He tweeted his butt last week. You're going to know. But why is he doing this, Nelly? You're the social commentator here. Tell us what's the story.
I think it's gimmicky. I'm guessing. I mean, I would guess that Tinder's probably struggling a little bit.
No, it's a Me Too, but they're doing some stuff that's clever. You can do unwind. Like if
What's
you
unwind?
Unwind is if you didn't, you're like, oh, I
If
accidentally.
you're swiping too fast.
I swipe
I
too
get
fast. You
Tinder
get in the mode where you just keep.
fatigue. I get
thumb goes out,
I get
right?
Tinder fatigue from it. I find it like. I
Have you
can't-
ever? Let me ask a question. Because you're young. Do you?
Have I
you
dated
ever?
someone on Tinder?
Yeah, have you
Yeah.
met-
Oh yeah, I dated someone for a year. I met on Tinder. It was great. I'm a big Tinder fan. I liked the mutual friends thing. So I would just left swipe everyone I didn't have mutual friends with, and
Oh,
then
that's smart.
I mean,
Yeah.
so Hinge now kind of fulfills that.
What's Hinge?
I mean, I'm not like using them right now, but
Ah.
Hinge
GPS
has
based.
it's GPS based, but it only matches you with people who you have mutual friends with.
And then Happening, which is huge in Europe.
Can you do the
uses-
opposite? I only want to meet friends who like I don't have any connections with for just like random hookups. Like, is that or is that just Grindr?
Grinder, Jason.
Grindr.
You might look into it.
Hey.
Yeah, it was funny because I had Grindr on my phone for a long time because I was
Research. Investor.
no, I was literally going to invest. I was just literally going to invest. I was doing my due diligence.
get
It's like I was doing with Meadow.
You get this
But-
sort of like existential crisis with Tinder is what happens because at a certain point you can't keep swiping because you have to just like stop and decide and go on some dates or something like that.
Yes.
And
Well,
then
now
you're
they're
like,
doing-
what if like my soulmate is 5 swipes away? And it's this really weird moment where you're like, at a certain point you just have to stop looking and like it's kind of
Confucius say.
yeah, it's like a little bit overwhelming. I don't know.
But
I'm a
are
little
people
OCD,
using
and
Tinder
so-
just to socialize and meet friends, or is it only romantic? Because it seems to me that they're trying to do it for friendship now, right? Or platonic?
So Barry
they're-
Diller, the CEO of IAC, was on CNBC a couple
Yeah.
weeks ago, and he talked about a new version of Tinder, which is kind of like Quicksilver for meeting anyone within a space. So it seems like it will go that path of.
Yeah, Sean Rad was talking about that on
I
the
think
show.
that's super smart. I think it's super smart.
Because then people who are married or whatever could be on, like, if you have Tinder on your phone and you're married, it's like you're getting divorced. Like, I had it on my phone when I was looking at investing in the company, and I was like, I need to get this issue off my phone immediately.
Yeah.
Because if my wife sees that I have Tinder on my phone and,
And
I try to
Grindr,
explain
just
to her that, I
confused.
know that I found her, I'm thinking
I'm
about
so
it.
confused.
I mean-
Grindr, Tinder. I accidentally launched the
I-
wrong one. It's awkward.
Yeah.
But I always had a fun time with Tinder because I would, not Tinder, the other one, Grindr, because I would load it. And then I would, like, people, at some poker games, somebody would be like, what's Tinder? And I'd be like, load it. And I would load up, like, the best profile of, like, a torso. And I'd be like, this is Tinder. And I'd hand them my phone. Like, why is this on your phone? I'm like, exactly for that reason. To make you uncomfortable when I hand it to you.
You're talking about Grindr.
Grindr.
You said Tinder.
Not Tinder.
Yeah.
Grindr.
Okay.
There's nothing.
I love Grindr. I think it's very useful. I mean, I don't use it personally, but
Well, you're not a man.
Scissor.
no, I
You
don't
want
use
scissor?
scissor. No.
Scissors for.
There's not a scissor.
There's not a scissor.
There wouldn't be a scissor. That's
There's not a scissor?
disgusting.
It's really disgusting and offensive. No, I think there
is-
is actually a Tinder
If there's
for
any iPhone
lesbians.
developers
Yeah,
out there
there's
that want
a-
to
what
start
is
a
it
new
called?
company
They
with
were-
me.
It's called her.
Her.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wonder if would lesbians use that or no? Is that popular in the lesbian
I
community?
think they. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not using the.
Yeah, services.
Lesbians don't need
you're in a
apps
relationship.
for this. They just go out. They just like, oh, you're beautiful. I'm beautiful. It's
In your
Scissor.
bizarre, that's in your bizarre,
Yeah, I don't know.
misogynistic worldview of how lesbians operate. Listen, I watched all seasons of The L Word. I am an authority. I could tell you that.
Jason, I feel like you're an honorary lesbian.
Oh, for sure I am. For sure I am. Trust me. I have a lot more
some
interest.
time with Jason.
best
I can
quote
say.
ever said on this.
I
Week in
watched all The L
Startups.
Word, and I know what U-hauling is. All right? And you don't.
I don't.
You don't even know what a
I'm
U-haul
okay with
is.
that.
This one, on the second
Urban
date,
Dictionary.
lesbians U-haul.
The Urban Dictionary.
You can look
that's
it
when
up.
they move in
Watch
with one
out.
another. Yeah.
It's basically like they go to the third date and it's like, U-Haul, boom,
Okay,
here we go, we're
yeah,
moving in
all
together.
right,
All right, listen, this has been an amazing program, the last 15 minutes notwithstanding. Thanks to our sponsors, LeadGenius, and I'm really proud of those guys and gals over there for making a great product. Go ahead and check out leadgenius.com/twist for a free audit. And hey, thanks to Envision App, which I'm not an investor in, I wish I was. Maybe I try and make that happen. They are an amazing product. I use it all the time. Envisionapp.com/twist. Everybody follow GGDM. Everybody follow Nellie Bowles. Nellie Bowles. Bowles is how it's pronounced. I'm not mispronouncing it in any way.
Yeah, bowls is ideal, although
Bowles.
bowels has been used, but
People say, oh, really?
no, I'm kidding. I mean,
What
in like
idiot would
middle
say that?
school.
Yeah. Oh, that's like middle school.
But no,
That's
it's
like people like
bowls.
Calicanus. It's like,
That's
really?
pretty good.
That's so genius.
I
Like,
would do that.
Yeah, exactly. We'd be good friends. Hey, thanks to Bryce, my chief of staff. Thanks, John, Ashley, J&J on the ones and the twos, Luke, Matt, everybody for doing such a great job. And we will see you all next time on This Week in Startups. Bye-bye.